It is an absolutely gorgeous place and an amazing place to work. And I'm not just saying that because this is being recorded. It is a really great place to be. And it is the way it should be. Just putting that out there. So yeah, I am in charge of pretty much everything that is graphic related. And that's everything from the design process and the publications and the publishing portion of it to being the brand manager and gatekeeper of our logos, and then also social media, and I'm also the campus photographer. So I'm pretty busy, but it also gives me a unique ability to maintain the brand for the university because I am the sole keeper, and I guess in that way I'm fortunate. So the first thing we had to do was come up with this branding statement. And the reason I'm bringing this up and starting way back at that point is that when I came on board, I inherited kind of a mess of things. And when I say that, it was just that things were being really, really inconsistent. And so it was my first priority to start bringing things in under the same umbrella. So we came up with this university branding statement, and that's where we started. So it's different than the vision or mission statement. It verbalizes who we are and how we want to be seen, and it kept us focused on our messaging. It also allowed me to share that with other people on campus as something that they could refer to as well to help keep them focused. So, there we go. So the importance of identity, and I'm going to say that the majority of folks that have joined us today have a general understanding of why identity is really, really important. But for us specifically, and my thoughts on it are, it's to increase the campus's visibility and an understanding not just of being visible, but an understanding of the work that our faculty and staff and students are conducting in the community and around the state and beyond. So through this COVID pandemic, we housed a number of stranded students, Chinese students, and as well as other students that were U.S. citizens who could not go back home because they were living in hotspots. So we housed a number of students. I think our Chinese students are actually still on campus right now. And we opened up our Wadeen gymnasium as a homeless shelter. It was sad in our little community to see the effects of what COVID was doing. So our campus, it was really important that our brand identity puts that out there, that we are, that last bullet, an ethic of care. That's where we focus our energies. The academics, specifically higher ed marketplace, is really, really competitive too. Even though we might all get along, and I love getting together with my counterparts and just, going over all of our issues and the ups and downs and whatnot. But as a general whole, we are all competing against each other. So that's another point of we've got to, keep our branding consistent and keep our messaging going in the way that we want. So the other thing it does is it projects that image of excellence in education and service and students to our students and community. Our president is amazing. President Rice is fantastic, and he wrote something just a couple weeks ago, and it was about that ethic of care, and that it's an absolute truth that as individuals and as an institution, that we are approaching the pandemic from that ethic of care. And so I know this is nothing to do with the brand style guide yet, but it's really important that this stuff was feeding all of this that I was working on. So in building the brand, and it was about this time that we found Canto as I was drowning in images, and being the sole person that was the person that had to go and find pictures for every single department that needed an image for whatever their project may be. So it was, finding Canto was a dream. I'm not getting paid to say that. I promise. It just has been such a huge help. And so having Canto allowed me to helped me to start integrating all of our branding throughout our in-house and on-campus marketing, because all of a sudden the faculty and staff, who I did get them to buy in, it took a little bit of convincing with new technology. Not everybody loves new technology or new apps, so it took a little bit, but once I got, especially the staff, our admins across campus love this, because they don't have to call me up when they need to put a flyer together. They can go and find what they need. And it helped us to kind of differentiate between our identity, which the University of Maine at Presque Isle, and our campaign the way it should be. I was able to kind of separate those two things, again, using Canto. So it goes back to that consistency and stability. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, stability for our students is of utmost importance to us. So being able to continue to show that stability to our students, even from a distance, made that consistency even more important. And on top of that, this pulling everything into, under one brand, it saves time and money, and keeps redundancies from happening. It leans things down. And when you're a small community, a small university like we are, we have a student population of 1,400 on campus. It's really, really important that we keep things lean and not have those overlaps. So let's see. So the Canto Style Guide, I had created a brand book, and I say book because it's many, many pages. And any of you who are, have worked in brand, know that this is something that is really important. And so Canto has allowed me to streamline those branding guidelines and trim out all the fat and just get right to the meat of it. Whoops. So the style guide has so it starts out, the way I have it laid out is our colors. And of course our colors are super important to be consistent with. And so we've got our primary two colors, our blue and our gold, with our PMS tones and our hex colors. So anybody who's coming in from different, printing, web, digital, whatnot, can come in and, find those actual codes. This section, I have our standard university logos, and in these different albums, these logos are downloadable, so people can go to the style guide and download the logo that they need, and I know it is the correct logo, the correct colors, and all of that stuff. So again, same with the athletics logo. It allows for that very specific, correct logo use. And athletics loves their logos, so they actually have a couple extras that we don't use anymore. And so this also allows me to weed those ones out, officially retire them, and only put out there what I want our campus community to be able to access. It also allows me to tell people what our standard fonts are. So Futura and Adobe Garamond are our two standard fonts. So that allows me to make sure that is staying consistent as well. I also included a section with some stationery and templates. So this over on the right-hand side, the way it should be, with the winter picture of our sign, that's our PowerPoint presentation. And so now I don't have to go and find that and email it to people who are sending the request for a presentation. They can just go and get it themselves. Same with the stationery. So letterheads, of course, we were getting all of those printed for a long time, and then I switched them over to being a lot of digital. And so this is helpful too. And then I included our brand book for anybody who wanted to go and read, you know, that number of pages in our brand book to get the nitty gritty. So that's basically the rundown of the style guide. It was and continues to be a tool that I use, you know, regularly. I'm constantly pointing other staff and faculty to it. And it's really helped to streamline. And actually, even since I put that, the presentation together, I've actually added 2 more sections to the style guide. And that's including some UMPI imagery. And so this is just a brand new section that I created within the style guide. And I've included an album of some seasonal campus photos that anybody can access. And I know that what is in that album is usable. And then I also put in a section for copy that includes things. Right now it only has our equal opportunity statement, but it also can hold additional things that we want to stay consistent with. So that, I'm happy to answer any questions if I didn't go over too long.
Not at all. Awesome job, Ro. Quick round of applause for Ro. We actually have a little bit of time here for a Q&A. You did amazing on time. Would you actually mind sharing your screen and going back to that live style guide that you had pulled up just so we could use that as a visual reference here?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on.
All right, so we've had quite a few questions come in. I'm going to try and do my best to do the ones that have the most bang for our buck here. Let's start with a little bit of an easier one. So Sandy just asked a question. I believe Sandy's coming in from Sonoma, but I'm not positive on that one. There may be multiple Sandys here. Her question was, how do employees get access to the style guide? And do you recommend having a training on its usage? So I'll let you kind of take that the way you want.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so it's 2 parts. So the training, it was part of my plan pre-COVID. We had not actually had Canto very long before we were sent home. And it had been in my schedule of things to prepare a training for the faculty and staff that were primarily going to be the main users, or consumers, I guess is what they're called within the back end. So yes, I would suggest a small training of some sort, just to get them familiar with the interface more than anything, because what they're going to see is a lot less than what I see on the back end. So I've got all of these options and things, but what they see is basically what you see on the screen right now. Like that's the style guide. They can select from those things on the left-hand side. But a training, I think, is always helpful, especially for some of those people who aren't super, excited to get new technology. And let's see, the other part of that question, I'm sorry, Jack.
Was employee access, and I think you kind of hit on it, but I could actually jump in and just say the access is exactly what you want to let people have. So it's all user by user. You could give people view-only access where they don't have the ability to download anything. You could give people carte blanche to download what they'd like, or a hybrid is actually an asset request where people can look at what's available via the portal or the style guide, and then they have to actually submit a request form on what they'd like to download. I want to make sure we have time for some of these other questions. There are some interesting ones here. Roanna, there's a couple questions about font files, which I will let us go in that direction just because we're very transparent here. What do you have to say about our font capabilities via style guides?
So the font capability, I think it goes back to the individual campuses and what kind of licenses you have on your typefaces, number one. But as far as the style guide goes, for me, you can easily upload actual font files. So what are they, the true type fonts and whatnot. Those types of files can actually be uploaded to the style guide. In this case here, I basically did the, a screenshot of the type so that they could see what it is. It's staying within your own university or, within your own faculty and staff. There isn't as much of an issue of, that font sharing as it would be, if this were fully public and allow other people to download them, because the university has purchased the license. So yeah, I love the ability to upload those files and just have them there. There's no hunting. But you don't have to upload them. You can keep this in your style guide, using it as images instead.
Got it.
Did that answer it?
By the way, these questions are coming from Rebecca at the College of New Jersey, which I found out used to be called Trenton State, I believe. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for divulging that. She also had another question, which is, are photos shared from a Canto portal, or is it just an album that's accessible through the style guide?
So in this case, I have it accessible through the style guide. It's not an actual portal. It's an album that I have within my library. In general, let's see if I can go back to, hold on, sorry. I want to get to one that I can just.
And while she's pulling that up, the quick answer for everyone who's curious is you could go either direction. You could have them directly accessible through the style guide, or they could be in a separate album within Canto.
So you can see on my screen right here, I'm hoping you can still see on my screen right here, that I have the UMPI style guide is listed as the only style guide that I've currently created here. But under my library is where I have the mass of my images and whatnot. But what I've got connected to that style guide is just one particular album. So the style guide, like the portals and the links, is under settings. And so I just go in here under style guide. I'm going to edit this style guide, open it up, and here I can see where what my content is. And if I go to the content tab, it's showing me that I have my folder that is specifically labeled as my UMPI style guide. That's where I keep all my logos and the templates and whatnot. Those are all in that folder. So that's organized for me. The around campus images get used for so many different things that I didn't want to just have them under the style guide. So those are actually under a different folder, but I can pull that one album and add it to my style guide.
Yeah. And just to hit on one more question that was asked from Blaine at I think it's Texas State. He asked if you could provide multiple formats for logo files, so JPEG, EPS, etc. Quick answer:
absolutely.
Thumbs up or thumbs down. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. This Canto will take any file type, from the presentation, which is PowerPoint, to Word documents and PDFs. My brand book is a PDF, JPEGs, PNGs, EPSs. It will take it all. I've got Photoshop documents that I hold on to so that I can access them from anywhere, in a folder that I restrict for just myself. So in addition to, housing all of my images and whatnot, it's also kind of left me this place beyond like Google Drive or Box or whatnot, where I can keep certain things that I use regularly as well.